If you're looking for a used iPhone to buy in 2022 or 2023, the iPhone 11 is one of the best options out there. Now let's discuss why in this video. The design of the iPhone 11 still holds up really well in 2022. Along with the iPhone 11 Pro series, it was one of the last few iPhones to feature the round curvy design, first introduced with the iPhone 6. I am more inclined towards the boxier designs of the latter iPhones, but that's my taste. Another thing that still holds up really well is the build quality. This phone feels solid in the hands. It does feel plasticky a few times. Just kidding, that's my lame attempt of saying that we're always going to use a case on this phone, so build quality doesn't really matter that much. But what matters the most on a phone, I feel, is the display. And that is where the iPhone 11 certainly starts showing its age. This was the last time we saw an iPhone feature a LCD panel, well, except for the SE series, which still does and will do so next year as well. Not that this is a bad panel, but it doesn't hold a candle against the OLED iPhones. Plus, these bezels just don't look nice with a light wallpaper. Also, the 60Hz on this phone doesn't feel as smooth as the OLED iPhones. But for what it's worth, the panel is still bright enough for outside use. It's also calibrated really well, which has always been a strong point for Apple. Another strong point for Apple is day one software updates on the older iPhones just like the new ones. And so far, iOS 16 has worked like a charm on this phone. Smooth animations, lock screen customization, and no negative effect on battery life. I mean, that's pretty damn solid. I won't go deep into what iOS 16 offers on this phone, but it's almost the same as every other iPhone. I did make a video of what's on my iPhone 11 featuring iOS 16, so go watch that video because that video didn't do well in terms of views, and subscribe to the channel while you are at it. Battery life, I feel like it's a bit of a tough thing to talk about this phone because this particular phone was bought this year, so the battery health on this phone is a full 100%. Hence, with medium usage, this phone still lasted me a full day. With heavy usage like gaming or too many FaceTime calls, this will die in under a day. But I'm not one to care much about battery life since I'm always around a charger, so there's that. But if you are getting this phone used, be sure to check the battery health before doing so. Otherwise, battery life is just fine on this thing. Performance on this phone is also really good. The A13 Bionic chip does a really good job even though it's a 3-year-old SoC. As I've always said, all new iPhones are blazingly fast. The real test is when these phones get older. And the iPhone 11 shows how well these A-series chips are. I've had no issues using this phone. Normal apps and gaming have been a breeze. And I have full confidence that the iPhone 11 will hold up for the next few years too. Other than that, I've had no issues with the basics of a phone. So Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, phone calls, speakers, and haptics have been really well on this phone. Moving on to the final piece of the puzzle, the cameras. The phone consists of a main sensor and an ultrawide along with a front camera. With the right conditions, straightforward subject, and good lighting, the phone still takes really good shots. The dynamic range and color reproduction are still comparable to newer iPhones. For most daily users, this camera setup can easily take decent shots that are social media worthy. The ability to take portrait shots with the back and front camera is also a plus point. Video quality is also decent in good lighting conditions. I'll leave you with some more sample shots that show how well this camera still is. Now to the question I posed in the title of this video. Is the iPhone 11 still a great used iPhone to buy? Well, in my personal opinion, I feel like the best time to buy a used iPhone is when it's 2 years old. That way, it's not as old that it's lacking features, and it's not as new that it's really expensive. But obviously, not all of us can afford the luxury of spending more money on an iPhone. So if you are in a pinch, I feel like the iPhone 11 still is a great option out there. This phone is a jack of all trades and master of none. So the battery life, the design, the build quality, display, software, performance, camera, everything is really good but not that great. Hence jack of all trades. Also, when I was using this iPhone, I did not feel the need of having a newer iPhone. This gives us an interesting insight of why we don't really need to upgrade to an iPhone every year or even every 2 years. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think, subscribe to the channel while you're at it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.